This is the schooner Victory Chimes passing us as we exit Southwest Harbor here on July 22. Sorry about losing the point there. Nice day out here. We're out for another afternoon sail, making about 6 knots toward the east. Well, we're beating almost straight south between Great Cranberry over there and the Manset Shore of Mount Desert Island over here. And the reason we're doing that is because of the wind direction today. Normally we go east, which is that way, but if we go that way, we're going to have to short tack back. So we'll go out and have a look out here, and hopefully it'll cool off. It's really hot. People at the dock said it was 81, which is too hot for human life. So soon we'll be out, and hopefully it will get into some cool air. And that is the Western Way out there. And we should have an outgoing tide, which will make this easier going out, at least. It's definitely lumpy out here today. We're running into about a 3-foot swell with 1-foot wind waves on top. And we'll have to see what the wind and waves do when we get out a little bit further. We're just about to the entrance to the Western Way. Now there's still a good deal of swell. We turned around just shy of the southern entrance to the Western Way because it was getting pretty lumpy, and it looks like it's even windier out there. And we're going to have to tack a couple times to clear Great Cranberry Island. And if you look ahead there, you can see the schooner Victory Chimes sailing out of Southwest Harbor, right at the eastern end of Greening Island. Now, there is a bar across the Western Way about 2/3 of the way out, and we're back inside that bar, and it has stopped the big swells that were coming in from out in the open ocean. So it's much flatter in here. Still about a 2-foot swell running, but as you can see, we're going downwind too, which is a much more peaceful direction than beating into seas. And we're going to go up here a little bit and turn and go between Great Cranberry Island, which is right there, and Sutton Island, which is over there. Looks like there's the lobster gear is really starting to show up here, though. You can see all the colorful lobster floats ahead. Oh, now we've turned to head east. We were heading north on a port tack. I could have jibed, but we were going 5.5 knots downwind, and that's a fair amount of wind to do a jibe on this boat. So I decided to tack around 270 degrees instead of jibe, just to have a little better control of the sail. I don't like to jibe when we're in much more than about 8 or 9 knots, and it's more than that out here now. So we're gonna sail east yet again between Great Cranberry Island here and Sutton Island dead ahead. I'm just making a little distance north of Great Cranberry so that we hopefully won't be as affected by warm air coming over the island. Now we're sailing into the mooring field here at Little Cranberry Island in the village of Islesford, and it's Not bad over here. It's a little warm, so I think we'll just tack and head back out. Well, tacked around in Little Cranberry Harbor. Still looks quite quiet over there. There were a couple boats on guest moorings. One of them was a boat called the Sunbeam, which is a kind of missionary ship that also provides limited medical services to the islands out here where there are no doctors. And there's Mount Desert Island. It's a little muggy today and sticky and quite warm even out here. And just outside the islands, it's also pretty lumpy. Nothing the boat can't handle, but it is a little uncomfortable. So no point in going out there. We're getting a wake right now. A little power boat past us. Yeah, we're pretty much out of it. And I know I need to go a little further afield on these sailing trips. This must be getting boring just to see the same thing over and over again, but this is what we've been doing. I was thinking we'd go outside the islands today, but it was windy yesterday, up around 30 knots all day, and seas got up to about 7 feet out there with about a 6-second period, which is pretty lumpy. And when I checked just before we left home, it was still 4.5 foot seas on a 6-second period, so still pretty lumpy. Well, there are getting to be more boats out sailing on any given day now. This boat here is a Morris. I think it's about a 30. And back there in the distance, you can see the 3-masted schooner coming back in. Pretty little boat, the Morris. Sail out from behind Great Cranberry, the wind is going to pick up again, but it's also going to get cooler. Well, tacked around again. We tucked in behind Greening Island and tacked, and now we're headed back toward the Cranberries. And I don't know if you can see it out there, but there's a dark line just above the water in the distance, and that is a fog bank. And we're going to head back over toward the Cranberries. There's more wind over there, so I rolled the jib up a little just to keep the boat stood up better when we get back into the wind. There's not much right here though. And if the wind doesn't pick back up, we can always unroll the jib. And looking over toward Bear Island Light. A couple other sailboats out, both motoring. Well, even with the jib rolled up 6 turns, we're over 6 knots, beating back toward Little Cranberry. We're staying out here mostly because it's much cooler than it is closer in. And there's the 3-masted schooner coming back in. It went out on the north side of St. It's beating back in on the south side. Probably see a full spot again. Okay, the schooner over there is tacking. They're not real fast when they tack. So I'll zoom in and show you a close-up of it as they tack around. That was a lobster float scraping down our hull. Quite a few in here, you can't miss them all. They usually stop for the day by about 4 o'clock, so they may be headed over to Southwest Harbor. They often anchor there. And these schooners operate out of Rockport and Camden over on Penobscot Bay, and they carry passengers for hire for 3-day, 5-day, and 7-day cruises here on the coast of Maine. And they're quite supposedly quite pleasant trips as you cruise the coast of Maine on a windjammer. Some of them, like this one, are quite old. This one dates from around 1900. It's one of the oldest ones, and also the only 3-masted schooner. So I'm gonna tack around and we'll sail along beside it for a while as we find out where it's going. Yeah, there's a good view of the schooner underway. Let me get it so that the wire's in view if I can. Yeah, moving right along. We're going about 5 knots as we head west. Under sail again. The wind seems to be dropping off. Looking at boats out there in the Western Way, and although there's a bit more wind there than here, nobody's really knocked over. So it's not that breezy out here now. It was much windier this morning than was forecast. Here's a few more boats out east of us as we head back towards Southwest Harbor. The schooner is tacking again. I think they were getting a little too close to Sutton Island, and I think we can get past them before the gap between us closes. Well, it looks like the schooner is headed into Islesford Harbor. They'll probably drop anchor over there and spend the night. That's unusual. I've never seen a schooner go in there for the night before. And we are headed back in. The wind has dropped off quite dramatically. It's much flatter out here than it was. So we've got kind of deadline because there's quite a low tide at 5 o'clock, and because of that there's a shallow spot at the entrance to our slip, and we might not be able to make it in if we try to come in right around low. So we're going to come in a bit early, and so that we can be sure there'll be enough water to get into the slip. It's really embarrassing to run aground on the way into your slip. So I'm gonna say thank you for watching today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.